Hey everybody, it's Chris and I am back to do another project with you today. Today I'm going to show you how I dip coasters. So this is a little bit different technique where you put paint down onto the surface and then you dip the tile into the paint surface. So we're going to start with, these are 4x4 ceramic tiles. They have been taped on the back side. And then I also wiped them all down with alcohol wipes just to make sure that they don't have any residue or fingerprints or things like that, any oils or anything on them from the manufacturing or shipping process. So I'm going to use a Sharpie marker and I'm going to lay my tile out just so that I kind of have an idea of how big I want my paint to be on the surface of the paper. And we're gonna do kind of a half and half. So I'm gonna set this up here on a cup just to get it out of our way for now. And today we're gonna do half black, half white. And then we're going to put the colors on top of the black and the white. So I'm gonna start by just drawing a line diagonally. And then I'm going to fill in this part of the triangle with the black paint. Hopefully we'll be able to do the entire set of coasters off of this one layer of paint that we're putting down. So it looks like I've got a little bit of pouring medium there. And then I also have my white paint in a squeeze bottle. So I'm just gonna go ahead and lay this over here on this side of our little square and then just fill in. So I found that if your base paints are a little bit thicker, this probably works a little bit nicer. I think my black could have been a tiny bit thicker. I think my white is definitely thinner than what my black was. So I'm just gonna go ahead and fill this in. And then, shocking, I know you guys aren't gonna believe this, but we're gonna use purple. So this is a Deep Magenta. And we're gonna use Deep Magenta and the custom silver to add our color in. And we're just gonna kind of do a little abstract, just kind of a zigzaggy pattern here on the surface of the black and the white. And then I'm gonna come back and put in some of the silver as well. So I think this will be a cool little project. We'll see here. Just like so. All right, so I went a little bit bigger. Got a little chunky here. I went a little bit bigger than what my tiles are because you kind of want the paint to kind of come up around the edges of it. So we're gonna take a tile and we're just gonna lay it down into the surface of paint that we laid down. And I wanna kind of squish it a tiny bit because I wanna make sure that it has contact at the surface. And then I'm going to pick it up out of the paint. And this is what we end up with. That's kind of cool. And I think you can see some cells kind of popping up. Let me make sure I've got you in view. See the cells popping up through the black? And then the other thing that we'll do once we finish all 4 of the tiles, we'll go back and touch up the edges. So I'm just gonna set this guy up here. And then I'm gonna grab another tile and we're gonna go back down into the paint again and kind of squish it down in a tiny. And this time I'm gonna go this way with it, which gives us a little bit more white on the surface. And I can see that I've got kind of a spot here. So I'm just gonna kind of shake this down. My paint, like I said, my paint is really thick. I'm just gonna go ahead and grab a little bit of this white. I'm just gonna kind of touch in here a little bit. And then I think as that sits, it will kind of pull back into those areas, okay? So we'll set this one over here. I think we need to add a little bit more color to the surface just because the black is definitely kind of swallowed up the pink. So let's go back and we'll do another zigzag pattern onto the surface and we'll add in a little bit more of the silver. And then we'll go on to the next tile here. I have to say, it does some really cool effects. The first one that we did is looking really cool up there. I don't think you can see all of it, but I'll show it to you here in a second. All right, so I'm gonna give this one a little bit of a twist to make sure we're all covered. And then pull it back. And unfortunately, I've got a spot right there in the middle. So I am going to, I think we're gonna re-dip that one and see if we can't get it covered a little bit better. So we should be right about here. So I'm just gonna dip down in again. There we go, that's better. And then just gonna touch up a tiny bit right here in the center. I'm just gonna put a little bit of white paint here, just so that we don't have a vacant spot in the middle, and then I'll let those paints kind of flow back in. All right, and I think we're gonna add a tiny bit more black. Unfortunately, I just don't think there's quite enough paint to cover all 4 of the coasters. And I think my white is a little bit thin here. And there. Like I said, I think my white could definitely be a little bit thinner. And then I'm just gonna go ahead and put my color back on, as well as my silver, since we added more of the white and the black. And then I'm gonna come back in and we'll dip the last one of the coasters. Very cool. You can see the little cells that are popping up there. All right, so the next thing that I need to do, you can see that some of the edges did get covered a little bit, which is cool, but I do want to make sure that all of my edges have been covered. And let me show you the first one that we did and how much it changed already. So there's the first one. So I'm gonna go ahead and get the edges finished on these, and then at the end of the video, I will pop a picture on of all 4, and I'll show you real quick kind of how I'm going to do the edges. So what I'll do is I'll just grab the sides of the coaster. Since this is the white and purple side, I'm just gonna dip right in here to my paint. The only thing that you wanna make sure of is to try not to come up onto the top of the surface, because that's gonna kind of mess with the pattern that you have on the top. And then I'll just continue on around the sides of the coaster until they are all covered. All right, guys, so I will pop on at the end here, at the very end of the video. Make sure you check it out so that you can see all 4 of the coasters. And then if you have any questions, please let me know. Thank you so much for watching today, and I hope you have a great day. Bye-bye.